Welcome back to Life in the Stands podcast. We have Jake and Zach. Excited to jump into a recap of all the big sports news happening in the NBA, in the NFL, and then, of course, with March Madness coming up. So we're actually on TikTok Live as well. Jake, I'm going to let you take it away. We got comments rolling in, people talking about seeding. Selection Sunday is coming up.
Yeah, I see a bunch of talk about Kentucky in here, talking about how Duke is overrated because they're the only good team in the ACC for real, other than maybe Clemson, you could argue. People are arguing for Louisville at the moment being a 5 seed, Caleb. I do not agree with that one. I think Ole Miss could go maybe Sweet 16 as a ceiling. 5 seeds are definitely weak. Tyler, I agree with that one.
I
Make
feel like
sure you guys
five
comment your
seeds are weak every
sleepers down
year.
here. Yeah, they are weak every year. Definitely comment your sleepers down below. We'll respond and tell you if you're wrong or not, because, we're always
Right.
right. No, I'm just playing.
Yeah, the five seeds I feel like are always in a tough spot. There's always like one or two upsets 12 over a 5.
Yeah, I agree. And there's definitely a lot of teams that you can talk about here. Um, there's a lot of like Indiana, even, Baylor, even, Vanderbilt. Georgia's a good 9 seed, I think. There's a lot of teams that can kind of like sneak around a little bit. And a lot of people are now saying Creighton should be higher for sure, and I kind of agree with that. Caleb says weak ass Maryland ain't no 4 seed. Yeah, they are. Go watch them play. Go watch them play. They should be a 4 seed more than Purdue is, personally. Thanks for the follow, Patel. Appreciate it. And yeah, I don't think y'all deserve a 5 seed at all. Probably like a 6 max for me on that one. Queen and Gillespie are definitely solid, Caleb. Cal's best coaching job in a while. Yeah, he struggled over the last couple of years. I think this kind of revamped his career maybe a little bit. This is not my mock draft, Joe. This is off of somebody else. Or not mock draft, mock seeding. So this is not mine. We're just kind of judging it. We're going off of what we think should happen. At this point, I think Michigan should be dropped to like an 8 seed, maybe a 9 seed.
Yeah, whoever said those five seeds are weak are right. Oregon doesn't belong there either.
Yeah. Say maybe Missouri in that 5 spot. But even then, I think Louisville should be in that spot over Missouri.
Yeah, someone commented earlier too. Illinois got a couple of top wins in the last few weeks. They could
Yeah.
even move up. Tyler mentioned a little bit earlier too. Creighton's got an experienced tournament team. I think that makes such a huge difference. Like you can
hmm
really tell when it gets down to it. Like it always makes me think of like the one and done Kentucky teams, the one and done Duke teams, UNC teams, where like they could win 30 games in the regular season, but when it gets in the tournament time, lights get a little bright. Having the experience does start to show a little bit there. So having an older, experienced team makes a big difference.
I don't think that's the case with every team, but there's always that one team that ends up making like a Sweet 16 or Elite 8 push that has experience. So I can see that. However, Georgia to the Elite 8, I don't think will ever happen with. Sorry about that one. Keep dreaming. St. Mary's, watch out for them. Yeah, they're sneaky. I think that's probably going to be round of 32 for them though. I think Baylor's a lock, Ryan. I
Yeah, I
personally think
agree.
Baylor's a lock. We go into the Sweet 16. Yeah, Purdue's definitely going to get bounced early. I don't think they have enough. Purdue and Michigan both are going to get jumped by somebody.
I see a Maryland to the Elite Eight comment. Keep letting us know what your sleepers are.
They want to know what my sleepers are. Um,
I say keep. Oh, someone says don't sleep on Texas.
nah,
Louisville to the Natty. Ohio State can get hot. I'm seeing a lot of Big Ten teams. People talking about a lot of Big Ten teams.
there's only two Big Ten teams I really see going far, and that's Michigan State and Maryland. I would see Maryland get into the Elite Eight depending on matchups, and I think Michigan State could go to the Final Four. Um,
New Mexico.
yeah,
I love it.
I don't think Kentucky makes it that far. They have a lot of top 25 wins, but they're very inconsistent. I really don't see that.
Sometimes inconsistent teams can get hot though. Sometimes the inconsistency swings in the right direction at the right time.
I do agree with that. However, we have to see what the conference tournaments bring us before we make that judgment, I think.
Right, right.
A lot of teams gain momentum in their conference tournaments, whether they win it or not. Um, I think that makes a big difference too. Almost just as much of a difference as what you said with the experienced teams.
Yep, yep. The next week will make such a huge difference because those conference tournaments, they're gonna tell you a lot for like I mean, really for all the seeding, but especially at the top of
Yeah,
those conferences, like the 3 to 6 seeds, the 3 to 8 seeds,
yeah.
a lot of that gets
Kentucky.
determined with conference play.
Cam, I see Kentucky being a 4 or 5, not a 3. This is not my seeding or our seeding for that matter. So don't judge us based off of this. It's just a talking point for us, and y'all can keep giving your opinion and keep, I don't know, smoking whoever's mock this is. Um,
Someone asked for
Missouri's in.
underperformers,
Alex, you're gonna
underperformers
say
in the SEC
Missouri.
tournament.
Alex, you're gonna say Missouri's an Elite Eight team after they just lost to Kentucky handedly yesterday? No way. The SEC, I think, might be a little bit overrated, but I don't know if we can say that yet, considering they're all just beating each other. Um, People continuously are saying the SEC is kind of hot garbage, but I don't know. Yeah, they think it's overrated. I don't know. I'm stuck on that opinion, Alex, just because they all beat each other up. It's kind of like the Big Ten of football, but Tech over St. John's. I don't know. Not yet. I wouldn't put them there yet. I was on this live earlier this week mentioning my three sleeper teams, and I had Michigan State, Texas Tech, and St. John's as sleepers. Um, I said no to BYU. Um, I didn't like Bama. I thought Bama was going to get bounced early in the tournament. They also just beat Auburn yesterday and competed with them, so I could be wrong there.
Right. Or maybe Auburn just
Tennessee,
isn't as good as we think.
also that. I think there's a lot of good matchups to upset Auburn, but there's not a lot of good matchups to upset Florida. So I think Florida should be the favorite right now. Yeah, St. John's I think would beat the absolute dog you know what out of Kentucky, personally.
The defense from St. John's is just unreal.
Vanderbilt's a sleeper. I've heard that a lot this week too. Hunter, that's a good point. OU is not winning it all at all. Sorry, no way. Who's a Cinderella team nobody is talking about? Can we talk about UConn? If they get hot in the tournament, I think teams should be scared of UConn because they might end up being an 8 or 9 seed.
But Jake, I'm looking at like the 12 seeds and lower. Out of that group, who do you think has the best chance of winning a first round game?
12 seeds and lower. Um, Xavier and Yale. That's what I'll go with. Those are the teams that I like personally. MSU has to win the conference tournament, Andrew, to get the 1 seed, I think. Or if Auburn loses early in the tournament, I think they'll move up. Xavier's a sleeper. Yeah. Omaha, yeah. Y'all are funny. Man, Ty Perez, I don't know if I like BYU. Not gonna lie. Yo, what's up, Kyle? Do we want to try and get Kyle in here?
Yeah, we definitely can.
Kyle, let us know if you want to join in, man.
I'm sure Kyle has a lot to say about the upcoming Selection Sunday and conference tournaments.
Yeah. Eli, if I'm picking any of those two, I'm picking maybe North Alabama, but I don't like either one of them. T, thanks for the follow, man. Hey, thanks y'all. Thank y'all for hanging out. A lot of likes, a lot of follows so far. We appreciate all the support we can get. So if you haven't done so already, please drop a follow. Go to our link tree. You can find our YouTube in there too. Um, so we have a lot of content coming out. We have a TikTok series this weekend being released by Kyle, who we might get in here soon. Um, and he said he don't want to talk college basketball. That's okay. We're gonna transition soon anyway, Kyle. It's all right. How many wins does Ohio State need? Probably
More.
two. Probably two in the tournament. Illinois winning it all. Illinois relies on threes way too much. So they're either going to shoot their way through or um, shoot their way out of a game. Yeah, Kyle, I'm excited for that game actually. Thunder and Nuggets are going on right now. If y'all are bored and have nothing to watch at the moment, you can watch us and hang out here and also watch that Thunder and Nuggets game on ABC.
Yep, going into the fourth quarter over there. 83-86.
Duke to the Final Four, Wisconsin Elite Eight, Michigan loses to 12 seed. I can see that, besides the Wisconsin part. I don't think Wisconsin's that good. I keep seeing Arkansas as a sleeper. Does VCU make it if they don't win their conference? I don't think so. I don't think so. Mississippi State could challenge certain teams, but again, it all depends on matchups and seedings, right? So let's wait and see until Sunday, right? We got a whole week of conference play. I don't like Marquette. I don't. Big fan of 13 seeds. Why is that?
Yale and High Point.
Yeah. I mean, I said I like Yale and Xavier as my 12 and further sleepers, so
I
you can't
like the
argue
eight
with one of
seeds a
them.
lot. I like the eight seeds a lot, honestly. I think Memphis is underrated. I think they could be a sleeper. You mentioned UConn already. You know, if they get hot in
Yeah,
the tournament, you don't want to play a Dan Hurley team. Then you still got Gonzaga hanging out down there.
I'll say people still love the Zag, so I'm glad you answered that. Shaq, what's your question, man? There's a lot of comments. It's kind of hard to read through everything. Does VCU make? I already answered. VCU doesn't make it. That's what I answered.
Shaq is yelling at us.
Oh my God. BYU is not winning. They're not winning at all. Lobos sleeper, maybe.
BYU has looked good in Big 12 play. Didn't they just beat Iowa State?
Sure. I don't like them. I just don't.
You just don't like them. Just no other
No,
reason. Just I don't
no,
like
they're
them.
just better teams. And if they get stacked up in a certain like region with a Maryland or with, you know,
I
like
mean,
some of the sneaky good teams, I don't know. That's not
you could
happening to
say
me.
that about any team, though. If they get stacked up in a hard region, you know.
BYU is going to get bounced in the round of 32. Mark my words right now. Yeah, TRB, Maryland's definitely a Elite Eight contender. Clemson could make Final Four, but I don't see it happening. There's too many other good teams. Drake and Vandy are sneaky. Could be an upset there. Don't doubt the Mormons, bro. Sorry, Tyler, my fault.
We'll probably
Uh,
stay on college basketball for another 5 to 10 minutes.
yeah, we'll hang out for a little bit. Who's my Final Four, Carson? I'll go first, and then I'll let Zach answer that. Um, I have Texas Tech, Houston. I want to say uh, Florida and Duke. Yeah,
All right.
Michigan's garbage.
Yeah, I got Duke. I got St. John's. I like Duke, St. John's. I've liked taking a 7 or 8 seed into the Final Four because I feel like more years than not stuff like that happens. So I'll go out there. I'll go Duke. I'll go St. John's. I'll go Memphis, and I'll go Auburn.
It's not unrealistic. If I were to pick an 8 seed, I'd probably pick UConn. Um, Other than that, I don't mind that at all. I think anything can go either way. And I mentioned this earlier in the week, Zach. I know you weren't around when I said this, but there's a lot of parity in college basketball with the NIL deals too. So I wouldn't be surprised if like a, I don't know, 5 through 10 seed ends up winning at some point.
Yeah. I mean, what's the lowest seed to ever win at all? Is it a 7 seed, an 8 seed?
That's a great question. Thanks for the follow, Dreeper. Appreciate it.
Yeah,
And
it
if
was
y'all
an
haven't
eight
hit the
seed.
follow button yet, please do so. We appreciate all the support we can get. And I know some of y'all have requested to hop in the live and speak with us, but we're not going to be doing that today. I'll be doing that later this week. Um, I do TikTok lives 1 p.m. Eastern time to about 2 p.m. Eastern time each weekday, I should say. So I'll be sure to get y'all in at that time, but we're not going to do that today.
I see some people saying Memphis taking it all now. Let's go. They like the Memphis pick. UConn,
You
yeah,
can t
UConn was the 8 seed that won
you can tell where the bias is. Um,
it.
for people when they comment. It's hilarious. Chuck says Drake, Vanderbilt, Memphis are my sleeper teams. Could make a run. Bryant is my 15 seed though. I like Vanderbilt and Memphis. I don't know about Drake though, Chuck.
I think
Hate
Ohio State
picking
might be out, Ty.
user.
As
I
you
hate
guys,
picking 1 seeds too.
oh, sorry. As you guys are having comments rolling in and letting us know about your sleepers and which teams you like going into the selection Sunday and conference play. Also, let us know if you want to hear NFL or NBA stuff next. We got the Nuggets Thunder game going on right now. We can jump into NBA news. We're also going to jump into obviously some of the NFL stuff. What's going on? Myles Garrett just signed a huge contract. So let us know which one you'd like to hear us talk about first as well.
Does Drake get in if they don't win today? I think they have to win today, just because of the conference they're in. Said rank the 2 seeds. I mean, we don't like out of the ones that are up here now.
Mm.
I would say St. John's, Michigan State, Tennessee, Bama.
Ooh, okay. I would say the same, except I would flip Tennessee and Bama.
I'm not as high on Bama as I am Tennessee. That's the only reason I did that. Kyle said, I hope so. I got Drake in a parlay. Of course, you got a parlay today. College over pro. I can feel that out. I mean, it makes sense, right? Makes sense
There's more parity in college ball right now, I feel like.
for sure. I think that's really the kicker. BYU could be a sleeper. Um, Michigan State could definitely be the best 2 seed out of that. I mean, that's the 2 seed I have making the Final Four, right? If you were here a little bit ago. But I think as of right now, you can't overlook what St. John's is doing. And I think St. John's is just going to run into a tougher team before Michigan State does. That's just like the gut feeling I'm getting. Because those kinds of teams, for whatever reason, end up getting challenged so quick in tournament play. So,
If you had to build a perfect team for tournament play, how does that team operate? Good shooting? Is it good bench? Is it
yeah.
certain things on the defensive end? What do you think are the main telling points between a team that's set up to go deep in the tournament?
Um, I mean, I like a lot of momentum coming out of conference tournaments, which is why it's way too early to make an actual decision. So I told everybody that I'd be making my official decisions and bracket predictions next week. Um,
Right.
when we hop on here again. So we'll see about that. However, other than that, I think you got to go with like top 25 wins during the season and that kind of thing, which is why you can't overlook Kentucky. Um, they continue to get top 25 wins. They beat Missouri yesterday. Um, so that might be a little bit of a sleeper team for some people if you think they're going to get hot. But um, user, I think Texas Tech ceiling could be the championship game. I don't have them winning it all though. And for those that are trying to make fun of the seating up here, this is not our seating. This is somebody else's. So feel free to flame their own graphic. Um, this is not us. And real quick, somebody asked me how I felt about Illinois before we got into that a little bit. Illinois is 3 point heavy. They shoot the most threes. They also miss the most threes, but they also can get on the offensive glass. Um, so it really depends on how the flow of the game is. Can they hit enough shots to win a game or blow a team out, or do they shoot themselves out of the game? So I think Illinois could make it to Sweet 16 as their ceiling. That's what I would say. And once again,
Yeah.
thank you all for hanging out. Thanks for all the likes and all the follows. If you haven't followed yet, please hit the follow button. We appreciate all the support we can get. And we also just released a new YouTube video the other day as well. So go check that out. It's in our link tree. You can see all our socials in our link tree. And yeah, we're going to continue rolling here. We're going to continue doing these every Sunday as well. And I'm also on here 1 p.m. Eastern Time to 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Every weekday. And this weekend, currently, we have most underrated defenders, top 3 defenders coming from our other friend Kyle that helps us out with the show. So be sure to check that out and go flame him over there too, because I think his list is god awful. But him and I never agree on anything, so that is what it is.
I think that's probably a good transition point too. I saw someone say they want to jump into NFL before NBA.
We'll work on that right now. I want to check something out real quick, and I can get us right into that if you want to keep answering some
Yep.
comments for me here while I get set up.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Much
get your
appreciated.
last comments in about these picks up here. Remember, these are not our seating, but it is a seating that we found just kind of threw up there. Um, Maryland, I think in general, decently high on Maryland. But again, a lot is determined in conference tournaments. So we'll see how they play. I've seen a lot of people have mentioned Arkansas as a sleeper as well. I think that's true, right? Coach Cal being there brings a different element that they have not had before. Bama should be a 1 seed. I think there's a chance they might get there if they go win the SEC tournament.
Do you think with that Auburn win yesterday that puts them ahead of them already?
I mean, potentially, yeah, that could flip flop them already. Um, Mark Sears is so good. And we talked about experience a little bit before too. He's a guy that has been there in the tournament a little bit before. So
That's fair. Again, I'm not very high on Bama. That's just me. Louisville relies on their perimeter shooting driver. So hit or miss is what I'll tell you on that one. Just need another minute or two here, Zach.
oh good. Jake's gonna be pulling up the next NFL stuff. So we're gonna transition to that in just a minute. So get your last comments in here. Which conference tournament do y'all think is the most interesting? Right now I think there's the most SEC, the most Big Ten teams in the tournament. In the current bracket, at least what we have up here. Um, what's more interesting? The MAC tournament? Absolutely. I think it'd be tough for Kentucky to get up to a 1 seed.
Here, we'll start. Here's where we'll start at. Aria, Utah is not a. Just calm down. Calm down over there.
Appreciate everyone again hanging out. We're gonna be doing this every Sunday. Jake hops on every weekday around lunchtime to go through talk about the current day events. He's gonna be on a lot, obviously, through March Madness.
Here's what I want to do first. Talk about off season. I want to get into the draft a little bit here to start.
Yeah, definitely. definitely. I mean, right away you got two QBs in the first two picks there on this mock, on
Exactly.
this specific mock. That's interesting.
Who do you think should be higher on this list as we look at this right now?
As we look at this right now, I think Will Campbell goes earlier than that. I think Michael Williams and Kenneth Grant go earlier than that. I think you might see Nick Emanwari go earlier than that. That safety. Jihad Campbell had a really strong combine. I think he's definitely a riser coming out of the combine. The top of the draft is a little bit different. I actually don't mind it because I've seen so many mocks with Abdul Carter going 1 to the Titans. I like them taking Cam Ward. I think that's a good fit for them. Um, I'm not as high on Shadur Sanders. I just don't think he's. I don't think Shadur Sanders is actually a top 5 pick QB. I think he's closer to Jackson Dart range, that like mid to late first rounder, early second rounder kind of type talent. But in a
I
QB draft that's light, I don't know, maybe you could see him go top 5.
I agree, and I think the one thing we got to look for here is the possibility of the Giants trading up for a quarterback if they can't get Aaron Rodgers, because that's kind of the move I think they're trying to make at the moment, and I don't know why. Um, but yeah, other than that, I don't really have a problem too much with this draft. Um, I'm excited to see where Ashton Genty goes, but other than that, I don't really know.
Yeah, I will say like the Giants getting Travis Hunter is great and everything, but I don't see how that makes a lot of sense for them right now. Like they should be QB hunting for sure. Um,
I think I'm going to be scared as a Cowboys fan if the Giants can somehow trade up and get Cam Ward.
that's what I see. And I do think the Titans punt on a quarterback this year because I think they know that they're not a quarterback away, right? So you don't want like you don't want to bring in a rookie QB and do what the Patriots did where you throw Drake May out there to die on a losing team, right? So I think if you're the Titans, you saw that happen. I don't think they go QB this year. So you probably get a Travis Hunter or an Abdul Carter in that one slot. Um, as I'm looking at this too, I'm not sure I like McMillan that early as well, going to the Saints.
Yeah, do we know what the Saints are even doing at this point in time?
No, because the Saints are just consistently in salary cap hell. Like they're just perpetually in a bad salary cap situation. So, um, I mean, Derek Carr is probably going to be healthy by the start of the season, right? I think he should be back.
But
So
is
you're
that
trying to
what
get
we're
him a
excited
weapon,
about?
but
Is
that's what
that
I'm
what
saying. Like
we're
maybe
excited about though?
like
Like
you're
that
trying to
that
get
makes
Derek
me
Carr a
mad.
weapon, but that's gross. Yeah, that's gross. Walter
How about you
Nolan
get a
should be a first round pick. Whoever's
how
saying
how
that.
no that lost you? Why'd it lose you though?
Yeah, Walter Nolan should be a first round pick. I think he's going to be. Maybe in like a top 20 pick. Where'd you get
Yeah.
this mock from?
I believe it was shit. Great question. I lost it now. Maybe like All Sport News or something.
Yeah.
It's one of the sports accounts on IG. That's all.
Yeah. The picks that I like Abdul Carter going to the Patriots. I like Mason Graham to the Jags. I think Ashton Jeanty to the Raiders would be kind of fun. Just completely retooling that offense. Brock Bowers is so good, so maybe the Raiders go into next season with Geno Smith, Brock Bowers, and Ashton Jeanty. I like the James Pierce Jr. pick. I love the two tackles, Membu and Will Campbell, although I think both of them end up going earlier. Malachi Starks had a rough combine a little bit. He had really good short area quickness, but I think he ran a little slower than people were anticipating.
Is there anybody you want to see the Steelers get at this moment?
Oh, not Luther Burden. I would rather them take Matthew Golden. I'd have them take Matthew Golden over Luther Burden in a heartbeat.
Fair enough.
Um, Yeah, I'd love to see GT drop that far too. I just don't think that's realistic.
As a Steelers fan, you can only hope.
Can only hope. Yeah, can only hope. I think this mock is
Eli,
interesting. It has Seattle taking Jackson Dart now that they've traded away Gino.
that's fair. I think that's realistic though, right? Because of where they are in the draft. I don't know. I think it's a good start for them too. Got to start somewhere if you're going to be in a rebuild. I kind of just feel bad for Jackson Smith, if I'm being honest with you.
Yeah, yeah. This is definitely an interesting draft. I like Jalen Walker going to the Bengals. That's a good fit. Someone asked why Connerly would go in the first round. This isn't our draft, but I think in general, I'm seeing a lot of tackles come out in the first round. What is it? Two, three, four, five tackles. So if you're in a draft where you think five offensive tackles are going to go in the first round, I mean that's why a guy like him can end up being a first rounder.
Exactly.
In the midst of all this, too, we've had big contract news today. Myles Garrett has become the highest paid non quarterback player, obviously. $40 million a year is what his contract is going to be. 40
You said
million a
40?
year. 40 million a
Yeah,
year. So it beats the Max Crosby contract by about 5 million.
it's outrageous. Outrageous.
What does that make you think for the Cowboys moving forward? Having to pay Micah and what it means for your draft.
Based off of what I know and what his dad has said to me, um, so kind of exclusive news, but he may or may not be willing to take a potential pay cut from that 40 million a year Myles Garrett got in order to make other things work on that team. However, if I'm him, I don't do that unless I know Jerry Jones is actually going to make a move. That's just my personal opinion.
Mhm.
Will he take a pay cut? Maybe. It might end up being like 35 million a year. Is that really a pay cut? Not really.
Right.
Um,
Is Tyler Booker actually good? Tyler Booker had a rough combine as well. Um, yeah, it was not great. I mean, I saw a lot of people at the combine coming out and saying like his physicals and even his drill work did not really seem up to par. So he seems like a really smart player. Hopefully he can stand up in the NFL. But I'm a little concerned about Tyler Booker at this point.
yeah, I think Dallas might end up with Burden. I don't know. Don't know how I feel about it. It's nice to know I have some Dallas Cowboys fans in here with me.
Someone
So
said DK just got traded.
they're probably trolling. There's no way.
Yeah, I'm guessing that's a troll. But where would you like to see DK get traded to?
I said this the other day too. I think it should be the Chargers, and I think that would also give Justin Herbert no more excuses.
What are the Chargers got to give up for DK?
Uh, I don't know. It's a great question. It depends on what they think they still need in the draft, right? Like I feel like they built their team up pretty well last year. Um, so they might be willing to give up more to pair up somebody with Lad McConkey. Um, I heard maybe like Quentin Johnson, like a second and a fourth, maybe. Um, I don't see that being unreasonable, if I'm being honest with you.
Yeah. Oof. High end receivers are expensive.
Exactly. So is it worth even trading for DK at this point?
I mean, I think it's still worth it, but it's got to be to a team that really needs that playmaker to bring him to the next level.
Pedro, what do you think the Steelers would have to give up? And Zach, what do you think the Steelers would have to give up for DK?
Yeah, I mean, let's see what Pedro says first. I feel like the Steelers,
He just said a lot.
yeah.
Mhm.
That's what I'm saying. It's like what do they have to give up versus what are they willing to give up? Like what are they willing to give up? Probably not more than like a fourth round pick. And that's absolutely not gonna be enough to get him from the Seahawks. So
Maybe
it's
if you're
kind of
sick
like
and tired of Pickens' antics,
but that's the
maybe.
thing, like I feel like Tomlin almost likes it.
Mm, that's
There's
not good.
been turmoil for like so long at this point where it's like that's just kind of how Tomlin operates. It feels like it's been
That's
that way
fair.
for almost the last decade.
That's fair. Roll into something real quick if you want to keep answering some people. I agree
For
with Kyle
sure.
on that one. I might actually bring Kyle in if he wants. Kyle, I sent you the invite if you want to join in. It's up to you.
Pickens is for sure a number one receiver. He can run the full route tree. He has fantastic hands. His attitude sucks. And when his attitude starts to get really bad, his play worsens. But if you're talking about top end talent in the NFL and his ability to be a number one receiver, be an X, be on the line of scrimmage, fight with a bump and run corner, run any route, beat any kind of man coverage, Pickens can do all of that. Like Pickens is an X receiver, 100%. His attitude sucks. Yeah, I mean, honestly, as a Steelers fan, there were points during the last season where I was just like, dude, like we really do need to clean house. Like Pickens should be gone. We should explore what trading TJ Watt would get. Exactly. Exactly. So if you trade TJ Watt, can you move up into the top five picks? But I also feel like this draft probably isn't the draft to do that either. So that's where it's tough. Right. It'd be interesting to see. There has been a lot of edge rusher movement this this season. So Trey Hendrickson's still out there, could get traded. Micah Parsons still needs to figure out what he's doing. Miles Garrett and Max Crosby obviously locked down, but I mean, what? TJ Watt, Trey Hendrickson, Micah Parsons. A lot can still happen in the edge rusher market in the next little bit.
Somebody's saying that DK might not be a true number one either. That's interesting.
I think Pickens is more of a number one than DK is. 100%.
Mhm.
Pickens has a bigger route tree. Pickens has better contested catching. I think, yeah, Pickens is more of a number one than DK is. But it depends on what you're defining as a number one. Yeah, I mean Pickens can play the slot too, and seeing him as a deep ball threat, I feel like is an outdated take because he had multiple screen passes he took for touchdowns this year. He had multiple slants, out routes. Pickens runs a wider route tree than DK does. Um, well, that well, I think you made the point exactly there. It's like it's the utilization. If you drop Pickens into the role that DK was playing in Seattle's offense, I think he's more productive than DK was.
What do you think Buffalo has to give up, Dwight? What do you think they have to give up? Let's add this first, because that was the highlight of last night. Let's add
Yeah.
this.
Zadarius Smith also did get released by the Lions. That's why someone commented that. So that is some decently big news.
Interesting. Throw that there for now. I also want to throw up another graphic as well for y'all.
Yeah, we got about 5-10 minutes left here probably. So we'll run into some NBA kinds of things. Lakers are 9-3 with Luka. Warriors are 11-2 with Jimmy. Obviously, the Lakers dropped the game to the Celtics there. Jason Tatum went off. And Karl Anthony Towns and the Knicks are not good against good teams. So we'll spend a couple minutes here talking about those things and then we'll wrap it up. Griff, no, not crazy to say that. As the last football comment. We're normally not fans of Jason Tatum's on this podcast, but it's hard to deny that he looked like the best player on the floor.
But I will say the Celtic stats are still very good without him. Don't forget about Derek White in that same game too.
Mm-hmm.
You're
Well,
always mad at
you know,
somebody for a parlay.
even Drew Holiday though, Drew Holiday had like multiple offensive rebounds and stuff in key moments. I feel like people before in these lives have talked shit on Drew Holiday. Like he's not I don't know, a top 30, top 40 player in the NBA. Like he plays a role for the Celtics that means he does not have to do a whole lot. But he could go be a number 2 guy, a number 3 guy on pretty much any other top team in the East. Like,
Yeah, for sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
embarrassment of riches.
Do we think the Knicks are going to do anything? Yeah.
Yeah, he's the engine.
I mean, LeBron's banged up right now too.
I am excited to see it because this is going to kind of be what the future looks like, right?
I'll say it's time for Luka to make it his team while LeBron's out.
Whoa,
Yeah, so much for the Nuggets being a sleeper for you.
whoa.
I'm just saying. That's fair. That's a
Well,
fair
there's that
point.
much disparity though between what that number 1 record looks like versus everyone else. That's disrespectful to the Warriors, but
I'll say it's about the number one seeds right now and the unknowns of the West is what I would say between the Lakers and the Warriors.
you're
That's
gonna
a new
need to
one.
explain that. Yeah,
That's a
what
new
does
one.
that mean, Kyle?
And to wrap up here I'm going to respond to one more comment because I absolutely disagree. Jason Tatum is absolute dog water when you put him next to Joker. All right, continue.
Yeah, well, that's a good way to end it. We are going to wrap up the recording here. So appreciate everyone hanging out, watching, listening. We're going to do this every Sunday moving forward. Just kind of do a recap of the last week in sports. Remember, Jake also does TikTok lives every weekday around lunchtime for an hour or two. So come jump on then. He'll also give you guys opportunities to come on and talk a little bit if you join during those weekday ones. Remember to like and subscribe. Check out our link tree to see our YouTube and other social accounts, and we'll see you guys on the next episodes.